Have you ever had that feeling where a subject just clicks? Or maybe the opposite, where you hit a wall and just can't seem to get it, no matter what you do? Well, what if I told you the problem isn't you, it's how you're trying to learn? Today, we're diving into a framework that explains everything, the 6 modes of learning.
Think about it for a second. Why is memorizing a formula for a math test
So completely fundamentally different from, say, debating the themes of a book with your friends? We call both of those things learning, but they don't feel the same at all, do they? And that's because, well, they really aren't the same thing. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about something I call the learning mismatch. Then we'll get to the solution, a really powerful framework for knowledge. We'll take a deep dive into the 6 modes of learning, see how they work in the real world, and then, the best part, we'll talk about how you can use all this to unlock your own brain. Let's get into it.
So here's the core problem. A lot of us were taught to learn with a one-size-fits-all approach. Like being given a hammer and told every problem is a nail. We try to use the same study habits, like cramming flashcards, for everything, whether it's poetry or physics. And honestly, it just doesn't work.
And the results of this mismatch? It's that feeling we all know. The boredom of just memorizing stuff without any context. The pure frustration when a concept refuses to stick. And that sinking feeling that you don't really get it, you just kind of know the definition.
But what if the problem isn't you, and it isn't even the subject? What if it's just your approach? That's where this incredible framework comes in. The big idea is that knowledge isn't just one thing. It actually comes in 6 different flavors, and each one needs its own unique recipe to learn it right.
So you can think of this whole thing as a map for your brain, or maybe even better, a learning toolkit. It helps you figure out exactly what kind of information you're dealing with so you can pick the perfect tool for the job. It's all about matching your method to the material. All right, you ready? Let's open up this toolkit and take a look at the 6 modes inside. As we go through them, try to think about which one is your go-to, your default setting. The answer might actually surprise you.
First up, we've got rote learning. This is the old-school classic, pure memorization. Think flashcards, repetition, just drilling the basics into your head. And you know what? It's absolutely essential for those foundational facts you need instantly, like multiplication tables or the chemical symbol for gold. You don't need to know the deep history of why it's AU, you just need to know it. Fast.
Next, there's practice-based learning. Now this is different. It's not about memorizing what, it's about mastering how. This is all about building muscle memory for your brain. It's that feeling of solving dozens of math problems or playing a musical scale over and over until it just flows. This is how you build real fluency. Then we have experiential learning, basically learning by doing. This is where you get your hands dirty and connect abstract ideas to the real world. Think about a science experiment where you actually see the reaction, or building a model car to understand physics. But here's the secret sauce. It's not just about doing it, it's about taking a minute to reflect on why it happened. That's where the magic is. Mode number 4 is dialogue-dependent learning. This is the social one. This is how we build understanding together, by talking, debating, and challenging each other's ideas. This mode is perfect for those big, messy, ambiguous topics that don't have one right answer, like discussing ethics or analyzing a character's motives in a novel.
5th on our list is inquiry-based learning. I love this one. This is the pondering mode. It's all driven by your own curiosity. It's when you ask a question and then you go on a quest to find the answer yourself. Think of a big science fair project, or just falling down a Wikipedia rabbit hole on a topic you find fascinating. You really own the knowledge you gain this way.
And finally, maybe my favorite, narrative-dependent learning. Look, our brains are wired for stories. This mode wraps information in a narrative to make it stick, to make it emotionally resonant. It's why we remember the story of a historical event way better than a list of dates. It's how myths and fables teach us incredibly complex lessons.
Okay, now this is where it all really clicks. Just look at this table. Check out that primary goal row. For rote learning, the goal is simple, automatic recall. But then you slide your eyes over to dialogue dependent, and the goal is critical articulation. See? One is about instant answers, the other is about wrestling with huge ideas. Or compare experiential's goal of embodied understanding with narrative's contextual comprehension. One is about feeling it in your bones, the other is about feeling it in your heart. It becomes crystal clear these are different tools for different jobs.
So how does this actually work in the real world? Well, the real magic happens when you stop seeing these as separate things and you start layering them. Let's try to build a really deep understanding of a single topic to see what I mean, the American Revolution.
So watch how you can stack these modes. You have to start with some rote learning, right? That's the foundation. You just have to memorize the key date, 1776. Then you add a practice-based layer. You learn the skill of how to analyze a historical document for bias. Then you bring in other people for a dialogue-dependent mode, debating the real causes of the war. And finally, you layer on narrative by reading stories from that time to feel the human struggle behind the facts. Each layer adds a whole new dimension, creating a rich, deep understanding.
Okay, so let's bring this all back to you. How can you turn this theory into your own personal learning superpower? Because this isn't just some abstract idea for teachers, it's a practical way for you to take control of your own education, starting today.
It really breaks down into 3 simple steps. First, define your goal. Be super specific. What do you actually need to know or be able to do? Second, identify the knowledge type. Are you learning a fact, a skill, a complex idea? This is the diagnosis part. And finally, step 3, pick your mode. Now that you know what you're up against, you can grab the right tool from your kit. Simple as that.
And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The whole point of learning isn't just to collect more facts. It's to actually change how you see and interact with the world. Using the right mode for the right task is what turns plain old information into true understanding, and that's what transforms us.
So I'll leave you with this last thought. We all have a default learning mode, a comfort zone. Which one is yours? But more importantly, which mode have you been neglecting? And what could you possibly unlock if you started using it a little more often? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.